Orders for aircraft within the aviation industry continue. There's an airline that has been declared bankrupt, the future of the A380 is discussed with a certain airline in limbo, and more in today's aviation news recap, so buckle up and stay tuned.
BB851, turn right heading 180. Order 14 Papa, turn right 245, report localizer established 27.
Naturally, I'd like to say a big thank you to all those that have continued to stick with the channel and of course have been enjoying the more frequent and longer aviation news videos that you do see. They've been getting a good response and I'm loving making them for you. With that being said, let's move on to the first topic, that being Etihad Airways and their Airbus A380. A curious couple, if you will, and match. Etihad being a carrier that has financially been struggling for years, and the Airbus A380, an aircraft seeing its production come to a close, but in addition, an aircraft that is not often favoured by most airlines, let alone ones financially in trouble, like that of Etihad. There's been a degree of uncertainty that has tainted the A380 with Etihad, and now, according to comments from Tony Douglas, the world's largest passenger plane is very likely to never return to the carrier's operations, noting that they had come to a decision to park up all of their A380s. With a fleet of 10 at the moment, they would not be the first carrier, though, to have made the decision to say goodbye to the type, with Air France and Lufthansa, two European mega carriers, already making the announcement. Air France's came at the beginning of the pandemic last year, and Lufthansa's confirmation coming weeks ago, following a very similar approach, I would argue, to the Abu Dhabi-based carrier, which was a prolonged period of essentially uncertainty, with lots of rumours, speculation and more, but no official word coming directly from the source, which is the airline or executives. Mr. Douglas commented specifically on the Airbus A380, saying, "I think it's heavily handicapped by two engines too many and other aircraft that can do the job far more efficiently, far more sustainably. So I'm not trying to rule out the A380. It would break my heart even more to do so at this stage. But in the same way that 747s have finally been retired pretty much everywhere, I think we're probably going to see now an acceleration of the same with the global A380 fleet." What are your thoughts though on this? Do you believe Etihad Airways will be saying goodbye to the Airbus A380 sooner rather than later? Let me know down below in the comment section. News surrounding the Boeing 737 MAX has continued following a private investment firm known as 777 Partners announcing that it had entered into an agreement at the conclusion of last week for a total of 24 of the Boeing 737 MAX aircraft. On top of this, it has purchased rights for another additional 60 planes. The founder and managing partner of none other than 777 Partners commented on the order saying, "We could not be more excited to partner with Boeing on this transformative order for our growing aviation business. The 737-8 aircraft are a fantastic addition to our aviation portfolio and will enable our partners to leverage the jet's superior economic performance to deliver low fares for their passengers while reducing their carbon footprint." Once again, I thought I'd mention the note and usage of the 737-8 naming rather than the 737 MAX 8 as we've come to know it. It continues on with the idea that it will be known as the 737 MAX overall, but each specific variant will have the MAX name dropped from it when reading it out. As an example, it's the 737-8, which is a part of the 737 MAX series, rather than it previously being the 737 MAX 8, which is a part of the 737 MAX series. It's a subtle name change, which is not really noticeable, but it's something I've noticed in a number of press releases from various customers and even Boeing themselves. It's an order which, in addition, as described by the company, will help aid the recovery with the aviation industry moving forward. You might be asking though, just what 777 Partners is. Well, based in the United States and only being founded roughly 6 years ago, the company is an investment firm that naturally invests in attractive markets. They are not just found in aviation, despite having the 777 in their name, with them also being found in the media and entertainment industry, as well as in the insurance and finance, to just name a few. There are many other areas that they can be found in. Either way, this order is another boost for Boeing and a boost in confidence to the 737 MAX program, which in my opinion has really been picking up pace in the last couple of weeks. Not only have they been welcoming new orders in, but also we've been seeing the type ungrounded in various different locations, as I will cover with today's final story. That'll be just a little bit later. Now, moving on to the next topic. The aviation industry has claimed its next victim late last week, with Czech Airlines, the national carrier of the Czech Republic, being told by the Prague Municipal Court that they were declared bankrupt and had been appointed to an external administrator following the collapse of the airline. It has now been close to a month since the airline actually announced originally that it was filing for a reorganization plan that would hopefully aid it in its survival within the industry. This was a decision that was made by executives at the airline only after, though, they failed to receive the funds and backing necessary from the Czech government, which on multiple occasions noted that they did not want to help and or assist the airline with its finances throughout this pandemic. This is by no means the first time we've seen a government essentially not want to support an airline. This briefly happened with Norwegian and has happened on many other occasions. Unfortunately for some airlines, they are not really in the best position with their government in comparison to that of someone like, say, Emirates, which constantly has the money go in, and essentially they will never fail. As for Dubai and the Dubai government, Emirates is an asset to the tourism industry, hence why they continue to pump money in, and we see the likes of the A380 flying. It's part of the brand, and it's something that the Dubai government backs. In other cases, governments, especially like that of the Czech Republic, simply won't want to invest their money into an airline that is failing, and especially if it's been on multiple occasions, they've given the money and they've chewed through it. We could take a look at South African Airways as a perfect case study in that respect. They have been struggling since 2013 and have on numerous occasions been given cash injections to, as they would promise, turn their fortunes around, and from that point, it hasn't worked. They've chewed through the money and then gone back to ask for more. It's why, as I've mentioned, some governments will simply not help the airline. And this is why Czech Airlines did indeed go to the bankruptcy court for protection. The debt for Czech is at US 82 million or local dollar 1.8 billion in the Czech Republic, and they're by no means a new carrier actually within the aviation industry. Obviously, they are not the biggest, but they are one of the oldest, with their name dating back all the way to 1923. So, while fitting a niche, if you will, and not operating widely throughout the world, their history and heritage is there, and the loss will definitely be felt within the aviation industry. Today's final story centers around the Boeing 737 MAX with Iceland Air, which returned to the skies recently following the European Aviation Safety Agency announcing that the type was safe to return to service and fly with customers. The carrier is expecting more 737 MAXs to eventually join up with its operations, and at this current point has the 737 MAX 8 and also 737 MAX 9 within its fleet portfolio, or should I be saying now, 737 8 and 737 9. The aircraft flew from Reykjavik in Iceland through to Copenhagen on a regular routine flight, and sees the airline now join a host of other operators within Europe that have since seen the plane back in the skies and flying. That concludes today's aviation news recap video. What are your thoughts on the topics that I've discussed today? Feel free to drop that in the comments below, and if you haven't already, feel free to join the Discord server. I'd highly recommend doing so, and you can do that by checking the link in the description, clicking on that. If you don't have an account, you're more than welcome to make an account. We have close to 1,700 members now, and the chat is always active with people with similar interests, always down for a conversation or two. With that being said, if you do decide to join up, I will see you in there. But until the next video, thanks very much for the support. I hope you're enjoying them, and I will see you next time. Take care, and please do continue to be safe.